Hey y'all, in this episode I talked to Andrew from Donella Drive. He is the king of slap and an amazing dude. So please enjoy, like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know who you want to hear from, and yeah, thank you again so much. When did you know that music was gonna be like a big part of your life?
Um, I think from a pretty early age, man. Like my mom, she was a big music lover, and then her brothers, they're all my uncles. They were all big music fans, and my grandfather was a musician. So, I would say it was pretty early when I discovered music and its effect on me. I was probably about kindergarten, man, honestly, maybe maybe even before kindergarten. Like I remember the first tape I ever had was my uncle's cassette. It wasn't even my, because it was like my uncle's cassette tape, and it was Metallica "Ride the Lightning," and I was a little kid, like 4 or 5 years old, walking around listening to that, like
That
like
makes
right off the
sense.
bat, right off the bat. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, knowing you and your brother, that makes like total sense.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so Metallica was like your first kind of album. Like, when did you start?
Kinda.
Or well, cassette
Well,
album, or your uncle's,
well,
right?
it was my uncle, but the first album, like I actually bought with my own money. Like I had bought, like I had CDs given to me, bought for me. My first album I bought with my own money. My uncle, we were at, like, I forgot where it was, like some CD store back in the mid '90s. I don't know. I was like 9 or 10, and he's all, "Dude, buy this," and it was Primus Tales from the Punch Bowl. So
Yes.
yeah, so that was my first. But this is before I even started playing bass. But he told me to just to buy it, and I was like, okay, because
Yeah.
I was
That
10.
any premise like is phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
it. Okay, so that was before you started playing bass. Like, what led you to play bass, or were you playing anything before you were playing bass?
No, actually, my grandfather, me and my uncle were pretty close in age. So, my grandfather had bought my uncle a guitar, and he was probably about 12 at the time. Um, and he wanted us to jam together. So one day, my grandpa went up to me and he was like, "Hey, I want to buy an instrument." And I was like, "Yeah, I want some drums, because that's the only instrument I really knew." And he's all, "No, I'm gonna buy you a bass." And I was like, "What's a bass?" Like I didn't even know what it was. Like I didn't know what it. I didn't even know. Like I just didn't know what it was. So he kind of explained to me what it was, and that way me and my uncle can both play together. And so yeah, one day he showed up to my house and he had like a little crappy. It was called a Hondo amp, and the bass was a Bentley bass, like stuff I never even heard. I
Yeah.
don't even know if that's real equipment anymore. You know what I mean? It's not. It was crap. It was horrible crap. It was like pawn shop
Yeah.
reject stuff.
That's how we start, man. We don't we
Yeah,
don't even I don't think like when we're starting, like we don't even care really. Just like
yeah, no,
give
for
it
sure,
and
man.
learn. Like, so when you got the bass, like did your grandfather like teach you, or were you kind of just
No, well, he kind of was like, "Here you go," and I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, so really, it was when my uncle, we started like playing together. We started playing like Metallica songs and whatever was going on at the time, like learning like Marilyn Manson, Metallica, that type of stuff, of the time period. Um, some Rage, Corn, the late '90s kind of rock
yeah,
stuff, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
Kiss 995 Kiss
You can't.
music?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So like when your uncle's teaching you, are you like are you practicing like with tabs, or you just kind of like by ear? How
It,
did
it, it
you?
was it was a mixture of both. My uncle showed me how to read the tabs, and then like then we kind of started, like, my mom would buy me like tablature books, and then I would kind of like learn and like, "Oh, check out, dude, check out what I learned, dude." And then we'd go jam the song together. Um, yeah, and then that's pretty much, yeah, tabs and just jamming with him. Like it's like right off the bat, I was jamming with him, and he caught on the guitar really quick. Like he started, he it just I don't know, he just knew how to play like pretty damn quick. Within like a couple months, he was like we were playing like full Metallica songs together. Like
Damn,
so, yeah, yeah, dude. And I was like 11, so
hell yeah. What
yeah.
what was like the first bass line or like just yeah, I guess bass line that you learned where you're just like, damn, like I just learned this. Like I just played this. Like do you remember?
Oh, yeah, it was freaking anesthesia. I went for it right after that, anesthesia. Like that was the
Man,
first thing I sat down and really tried to learn was that for sure, for damn sure.
man. Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
that's pretty wild to be like even even to like attempt when you're just beginning. I mean,
hmm
it shows like dude, your bass playing is awesome.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah, when did like slap bass start getting involved in your bass playing?
Oh, yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, that's a cool story. My mom was dating this. He was a musician too, and he saw that I played bass, and so whenever he wasn't hanging out with my mom, he would kind of walk around the house and he would come in my room and he would see me jamming, by myself, and because that's all I did, dude. I was a little kid, like locked in my room playing that damn thing, and he would walk in the room and, hey, dude, what's going on, and he's all, have you ever, what slap bass is? And I was like, no, what's that? I didn't know anything, and he taught me that higher ground, the course, the cliche, the
Yeah,
higher ground bass line. And at the time, yeah, I was around 12 maybe, and then I started like I picked it up. I started doing it, and then I didn't even notice like I was fast, so someone told me like I would like slap it as fast as possible, and they're like, "Holy shit, dude! Like that's pretty fast." And I was like, I guess I didn't
yeah,
even know. You don't know. I was like, I guess I'm fast, and then it kind of just built from that.
yeah. So when you
Yeah.
started getting into slap bass, like,
hmm
did you start expanding like your music to find like other bass players like that?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I totally got into. I remember I was in like I want to say I was in eighth grade, seventh grade. No, no, no. Take it back. This is already. I was in ninth grade, and I had a friend. He's like, "Oh yeah, you think you're badass and slap bass? Let's check this out." So he lends me a Victor Wooten CD. It was like his dad's, and this is like shit, maybe the year 2000, maybe somewhere on there. And I was like, "Holy shit, man!" Like it just blew my mind. You know what I mean? Like I was like, "Dude, like I still to this day know some of his like that stuff. Like it was what the hell was it? Classical Thump, of course, everyone knows that one.
Yeah,
I know like little bits of it. I've never learned the whole thing straight through. Hell no, not yet.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, dude. So I got into that. Of course, Primus. And of course like Chili Pepper. Of course, I learned that higher ground. So I started researching Chili Peppers and stuff. And then another one that I really like. My mom has been jamming this band since I was a little kid. It's a band called Faith No More. I'm sure you've heard of them.
yeah,
And she was always playing them. And then when I started playing bass, I was like, man, the bass player is really awesome too. Like, and I started listening to them a lot more. So that's kind of like where my style came from. Then of course when the new metal thing came in, like I got into like Ryan Martini, his slap bass stuff. So really, yeah, it got me into all kinds of stuff. Like especially with the slap bass, like the Claypools, Wooten, Billy Gould, and Flea, and Cliff. That's what I say. I'm like a combination. I try to do a combination of all of those, if possible.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, when did you start getting into like local bands or making your own band?
I played my first show when I was 13, and it was actually at this place called. Well, it's actually back then it was called Wackies, but now it's Limelight.
Okay.
But I was a little kid, man. Like, yes, I was 13 years old, and that was my first show ever. It was like we were like a Metallica cover band. We didn't even have a name. Like we just played. And my mom, she set that up for me. And then of course, like I was just playing by myself. I was playing with friends at school. You know what I mean? And trying to get something going. And then I came across some. My mom was friends with this girl, and she'd always talk about her kids and how they're in a band. They play the White Rabbit all the time. And she was like, "Hey," and their bass player just quit. And she's like, "Oh, I know a bass player. He's my friend's son." And so we set up a whole audition for me, and I go over to their house, and we just jamming. Like within like a couple seconds, like after I was jamming, they're like, "Oh, you're in." I'll go. That's it. Like so I went from like right off the bat, like super young, like 13 years old, playing at the White Rabbit, like just boom, like this is back in the early 2000s,
Yeah.
and that was back, yeah, that was back then where, dude, like the Rabbit was like packed as hell, like it was like lines around the building, like it was crazy. It was a crazy time, and I was super young, and I got to experience that. It was pretty cool, man.
Yeah, man. The White Rabbit was just like a staple, especially for like local metal music,
Hmm.
and other music in general.
Yeah,
Same thing. Did you ever go to like their booking nights
yeah,
where you just had
yes,
to raise your hand, like
yeah.
yeah, I'll take that
Do you
day.
want to play? Exactly. Are you available Saturday, March 21st, whatever? Yeah, we'll do it. All right,
Yeah,
7:45 jam room.
yeah,
Yeah,
man, Rick.
yeah, Rick. Yeah,
Every date I would just be like, yeah, just raise it. They're like, all
yeah.
right,
Just raise your hand to
yeah,
everything.
you don't have to raise it anymore.
We know you want to
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So what band was that? Do you
That was a band. And it had another group of like guys who've been involved in the music scene for like still to this day. We were called Defaced, and it was a pair of brothers, Jojo Badillo, who's, he was in Horror on 24, he was in Skyland, he was in Brotherhood with me, um, all kinds of bands. He's still
yeah.
jamming to this day. And then Derek Badillo, his brother, who was in that band, The Heroin,
Hmm.
for a long time, and he was in Protein Shake for like 5 minutes, and then the Y Equals, and yeah, so yeah, it was a whole bunch of people who went on. Like we jammed together at a very young age, and we went on and we did our own thing. It's still pretty cool. And that
Awesome.
we're all involved in local music. Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you start jamming with your brother?
That was probably after. Well, I pretty much been jamming with my brother since he was 8 years old. Like literally, like I was probably say around. Dude, he was like 8 years old when he first started playing guitar, and I would just teach him. Like I think I taught him like I want to say like Harvester of Sorrow or something, and he learned it like quick. Like and he had this little like miniature flying V, and he would walk around with it and play it. So yeah, so he was 8 years old for sure. And then like when we started taking it seriously, like after Brotherhood had ended, like I don't know what I was gonna do. This is about 2010. Um, no, actually, 2011. I'm sorry, 2011. We broke up. We broke up. Brotherhood ended on New Year's Day in 2011. So yeah, when I saw my brother, how I saw how good he got. Like he's badass. He's so creative, and his riffs are. He writes some stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know what the hell to do that. I have to like think. Yeah, it wasn't just one thing. He's crazy, man. Um, but yeah, so that was in 2011 when we started. Like, I was like, okay, I can probably be in a band with this dude now. And he was still young himself. Like, he was only 16 at the time. So, because we had like written things before, like little like jams, but he was still super young, man. Like,
Yeah.
so nothing we could take too seriously. It was kind of the stuff we wrote and jammed together. But we started this band for like had a couple Brotherhood members. It was this band called Dream and Static that lasted like maybe 5 months, and then we started like for a year straight. We just wrote songs, and that then ended up becoming Donella Drive. Like it was supposed to be like a just not even. We weren't even crazy about the name. Like we just needed to name it something, and we're like, oh, it'll just be like a temporary thing, and since we're not playing metal now, it sounds like an indie band. So you know what I mean. So
So we'll
Donella
take it.
Drive, screw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then yeah, we've just been jamming ever since, writing songs and doing our thing.
Yeah, I mean, since y'all started, like, I know you've had like different singers, but the sound has
Mm-hmm.
pretty much like been the same. Like, you can tell
Mm-hmm.
it's you and your brother. Like, how's that when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to songwriting?
Really, I don't know. I guess Aiden has his style, and I guess I have my sound too. And it's just maybe I don't know. We don't try and write like, oh, it's got to be this way. It's got to be heavy. It just we literally just write like whatever we feel like, and that was like the main goal. Like because I've been in metal for so long, and I love metal. Like I'm wearing the fucking Dark Tower shit right now,
Yeah.
and so I just got tired of the whole like, oh, it's got to be this kind of style, And I was like, no, like when we start this band, like I want it to be like just free, like write whatever comes out, like don't worry about don't worry about so much stuff, you know, just kind of just jam. That's really was the main goal. And that's all we do, man. We just jam and write stuff that sounds cool to us. If it's got a groove, it's got a bounce, then we'll ride with it. It's not about how technical, you know, or how we're not. And believe it or not, like I've been called like, you know, flashy or showy, but I don't know. It's just the way I play. Like I'm not trying to like show off. It's
Yeah.
just when I'm doing it, I'm just like, oh, this sounds cool. You know what I mean? And I ride with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. I don't think that you're flashy or showy. I think like your bass
Mm-hmm.
parts are appropriate and like they
Mm-hmm.
match like what y'all always sounded like. I think if
Yeah.
maybe people like listen to your whole like discography or whatever, they'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing it since you
Yeah.
started." Um,
Dude, and what's crazy is I've been playing the same way, like even when I was in Brotherhood. Like I
yeah,
remember like one of the first practices, like one of the band members, I was slapping like the riff, and he was like, kind of gave me like a face, like we don't do that, you know,
oh,
type of thing. And I was like, oh, that's cool, but I do it anyway,
yeah.
whatever. You know what I mean? And then gradually they started like to dig it and like the way it sounded. I was like, yeah, I know, sounds cool, right?
I think someone posted a video of like Brotherhood at Warp Tour or at like I don't know if it was Warp Tour or maybe like a festival and you had like
No,
a
that was Mayhem.
oh okay
Mayhem.
Manfest. Yeah, I saw you
Yeah,
had like a
yeah,
little bass fill thing going
yeah,
on. Yeah, man.
yeah, yeah, man, yeah.
So I
That
mean,
was that actually. I would say that part was like, I don't know if it's controversial, but like I remember when they showed it to this one guy, he just kind of like did the same thing, did like a face like, I don't know about that, but everyone dug it. So
yeah,
I was like, I don't care what anyone thinks, you know?
yeah. You play your style
Yeah,
like that's why you're the bass
yeah.
player. Um, so like you're not like a stranger to fests and stuff. Do you have like any advice for people trying to get on any like music festivals? Because you've been on Mayhem, like on River City, the Rockfest, like
Mhm.
a couple years. Like, how did that come about?
Dude, honestly, like, and people don't believe me. And even after we got River City Rockfest, like, random ass people would message me, dude, how did you do it? Like, I'm telling you the truth, like, it was just freak, like, luck. Like, the Mayhem thing was Brotherhood was, they were a Jaeger band, a Jägermeister band. And they just so happened to have a Jägermeister stage that year at Mayhem. I think they had it a couple years, but when I was in Brotherhood, they actually had asked us if we could play the Dallas date. You know what I mean? So that was just luck, you know. And I joined Brotherhood, and they were a band that was established and had, you know, some things going for them, and that's how that happened. Really, they were just from being a Jaeger band, and then the River City thing was like I said, just freak kind of chance. Like the last time we got it, um, this guy comes up to me. We're playing at High Tones one night. This guy comes up to me and he was like, "Dude, now like drunk too." So, dude, you guys are amazing, man. You guys are badass. He's all, I want you guys on River City, and he gave me his card. He's like, I book it. He's like, just give me his card, and I was like, I looked at, it, I was like, oh shit, this is legit.
Yeah,
So like, so yeah, and then that's literally how we got it. Like just from those two, those from those things happening. A night at High Tones, and yeah.
yeah, man, that's wild. So
Hmm.
High Tones just like a bar for people not in San Antonio. Bar has like a local music scene. What's your mindset like in playing shows? Are you the type of dude who's just like, I want to play as much as possible, or do you want to like space it out so just like for whatever strategic reason you want? Like, what's your mindset when y'all are booking shows?
Dude, honestly, like I mean, we're still a local band, and we try and venture out as much as possible. You know, like locally, I'm cool with playing once a month. You know, if I can play like more than that, like, that's awesome. Like I love playing. It's like my favorite thing to do in the world. But we try at least book at least one show a month in town, and then kind of branch out. You know, to get our name out there. Um, that's usually the goal. But I'm down to play whenever. Like I'm down to jam. I don't care. I'll play whenever. But, some of the guys, they want us to be more strategic about it, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, me personally, I'm down to play whenever. I'll play right now. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah.
So how have y'all taken like this time during the pandemic? Like, what have y'all been doing, I guess, during this time?
Dude, we're writing another EP. It's already almost done. It's literally like bass, drums, and guitar are already tracked. We're gonna start vocals probably next week. Five songs.
Man,
Yep.
that's awesome. Where are y'all recording at this EP?
We're actually recording with this guy named Sebastian Elizondo. He plays in this band called Porch Dream, but he was in Darkness Divided, Shattered Sun, and then Chris Mora. He's gonna mix and master it. Chris Mora from now I don't know if he's been doing like that, like he did the last Upon a Burning Body record, Sons of Texas record. So he's gonna mix and master it hopefully. Um, or no, he is. He is. I don't want to
Yeah.
say hopefully. He is. But yeah, Sebastian Elizondo is the guy who engineered the record for us.
Nice. So
Yeah.
you're mentioning
Yeah, man.
vocals. I know,
Hmm.
like, I think it was Golden was like the first time I heard you sing, or right? Is that the song you sang?
No, the very first song I
Oh,
sang was that song "Feel Better."
yes. Okay. Sorry. Feel
Yeah,
better.
yeah,
Man, that
yeah.
was that was like great. I really enjoyed that song. Like,
Thank you,
now
man.
now that y'all, I guess, what was the decision like just for y'all to say like, fuck it, we're gonna start singing?
Oh, dude. Okay, awesome story. So like, we had just kicked out our vocalist, and we kept writing. You know what I mean? We recorded like a couple songs, some we never released. And "Feel Better" was one of them. And we're at the studio, and I was like, man, like we're kind of like struggling, and I was like, man, screw it, like let me just try and sing on it. Like, I kind of wrote some lines, and I came up with a melody, and I'd never written lyrics. I'd never written a vocal melody. I never recorded vocals in the studio ever. It was
Yeah.
literally my first time. So when you hear that song, that is me like virgin everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like I never. That was my first time. And yeah, I just went for it. It was kind of like we were just frustrated and like, fuck it, let's just do it. You know what I mean? We didn't want to depend. Of course, it'd be great if like the greatest singer showed up and and sang for us, but is that gonna happen? Probably not. So we're just like, screw it. Like we have to do it ourselves. Just for the survival of this band, we have to just do it ourselves.
Man,
And that's
that's
pretty much
awesome.
how. Yeah, yeah, dude.
So is like, now is Donella just like three piece? Like, y'all just like, that's it, it's locked, it's a three-piece band?
I mean, we're a three-piece right now, man. But I mean, we've always, my brother wants to bring in like, a keyboard guy with, to do synths or backup vocals, or even like a second guitar player. We've talked about it, but it's got to be the right people. You know what I mean? It's got to be the right vibe. When we're open, I mean, we're a three piece now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we love playing, and we're writing. I mean, with Steve, when Steven joined the band, it was just, we've been writing. We were always like, we always wrote a lot, but Steven, he has that same drive that we do, that freaky drive that and so yeah, dude. So we've written like so many songs, man. Like we just put out Bloomer in March.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we were writing this one now. We were literally writing that one while we were in the studio recording Bloomer.
Y'all are
So
just,
we have like already got, yeah,
yeah,
dude.
just grinding.
And yeah, dude, for sure, man.
um so I guess let's talk about Steven a little bit, because that dude can play the drums. He's great. So when
He's
when did
alright.
he
He's
start come
alright.
yeah, when did he start coming in the picture?
Okay, so Steven, we used to play with Steven's old band, Recreate in Eden.
Mhm.
We used to play with them, like they were kind of like a buddy band, you know what I mean? We're just kind of book shows together, and we would say what's up to each other. We didn't like, really know each other too well, but every time we played, we always had good shows together, and we always kind of just, just chilled. And then when Johnny Lightning was in the band, it kind of wasn't working out, and then we kind of like it was like a mutual split.
Yeah.
And so when we announced that we were looking for a drummer, um, a good amount of people hit us up. We were actually pretty surprised. We're like, damn, this is pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so anyway, so and then the next thing you know, Steven slid in our DMs, and hey, he's like, hey man, I want to try out for you guys. And then and it's crazy too, because we actually had two other tryouts that week too. So Steven was the first tryout, and then we had two other guys like in the next couple of days. But we knew Steven was the guy within like 10, 15 seconds. Like, you know, and then we wrote like fucking 2 songs that night. You know, we wrote Golden, and we wrote Origami. Like what we always try to do when we bring in a member, we always have them like see if they can learn the old stuff, but then they also have to be able to write. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a test. And that dude like surpassed it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, dude.
Yeah. That reminds me of that Dream Theater, like when they're looking for a drummer. Have you seen any of that stuff on YouTube?
I think I seen one with Lars. Where
Oh
Lars
no,
trying out
it
for
was
Dream
not
Theater.
Lars.
Yeah, okay, it's not that one.
That was probably like
It
some
was
meme or
definitely.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, just a side note, Dream Theater, like, they have when Mike Portnoy left or whatever, they were doing auditions, and they auditioned Mike Mangini, and like kind of the same feel, like they did, like played a couple of songs with them, and they did a jam with them to see if it fit. So I think it's super important just for other bands to like understand that it fits, because you could be playing with the best person, but if
Mm-hmm.
they have an ego or whatever, like that stuff's kind of lame.
Yeah, it's true, man. Ego, like I'm telling you, I always tell people this. Like the band now is like the most like egoless band. Like there's no drama. Like everyone's trying to worry about what's best for the song. It's not like, oh, I have to have my riff in the song, I have to have my part, like, and that's it. You know what I mean? It's whatever's best, whatever fits the song. You know what I mean? And it's just from being, I think it's just from being experienced, and like I said, there's no egos in the band. We all kind of come to some kind of compromise without even like we don't even talk about it. It just kind of just happens. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy like that.
Yeah,
And other times it's been a big fight.
I feel
If any, yeah, yeah, man. If anything, me and my brother fight about parts. You know what I
that.
mean? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's brotherly love, though. You have to do
yeah,
that, like with your brother.
yeah, for
um,
sure. He thinks he's right. He's not.
oh my god. Let- Let's get into some of your gear. Like, what have you been playing lately?
Right now, my setup, I just bought a dark glass, Alpha Omega. Just bought that. I have a Fender Geddy Lee Jazz Bass, and then I have my Ampeg 8x10, and I have pedals. I don't have too many pedals. I'm barely starting to kind of get into it. My brother's been kind of on my ass about it, about getting more pedals, but right now I have like a delay pedal. He just gave me one, and then I have a Pickle Pie Hella Fuzz made by
Okay.
Ren Cuff, and then of course my chromatic tuner, my pedal, my Boss chromatic tuner,
Yeah,
and that's pretty much it, man. It's pretty basic. I don't
yeah,
get too crazy. I still have my SVT too, my SVT Classic head.
yeah. When, like, do you do anything special, like for tone, or is it just you got it in your fingers, your tone?
Dude, honestly, like I have a general idea of how I want it to sound. Like literally, like I mean, of course, buttons are gonna get moved and stuff, or knobs are gonna get moved, and I just, I'm at practice. I kind of just I'm tweaking it until it sounds good to my ear.
Yeah.
Whether it sounds good to everyone else, I don't know. But if it sounds good to me, I'm gonna let it ride. Yeah, and tone is totally in your hands. It's in your hands. That's how you know it's that person playing. I totally believe in that, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you
Yeah.
too.
Hmm.
Definitely, like, of course, amps or whatever can maybe enhance your sound or something, but like the feeling,
Hmm.
the tones, definitely like
Yeah.
in the way you
Yep.
play. Um,
Definitely, man.
Man, I just lost the question I was gonna ask you, but it was probably gonna be about your tone. Um, what right now, like what plans do you have? I know you're gonna do an EP. Like,
Hmm.
have you like talked about doing any shows, or are you kind of still waiting? Like, what's the
Dude,
post
we're
COVID?
just playing. I mean, we want to put out the EP as soon as possible. Put out some music videos. I don't know if we're gonna put it out like right off the bat. We haven't really kind of come up with a game plan, but Steven wants to put it out by the end of this year, which I don't know. It's already gonna be November. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I don't know if I see that happening, but we definitely are gonna try and like maybe like do like 3 music videos, and then the next 2 songs just kind of put them out. As and then we'll have it as a full EP. I kind of want to spread it out a little more. Um, but yeah, definitely playing the waiting game with shows. We've been getting offers to play, but I don't know. I kind of want to play when it's almost semi-normal, at least. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But I definitely miss playing. We all miss it. We're like feeding the play
yeah.
for
Uh,
sure. Yeah, dude.
when I was talking to Tim, he was saying like the next Toaster show is gonna be like the best Toaster show ever because everyone's just been like bottling up like their feelings. Like,
Hmm.
do you feel that same way about the next, like the first Donella show back, like out of
Hmm.
quarantine? Like,
Dude, yeah, man. I can't wait. I can't wait. And then it sucks too because like we really didn't get to promote the last record we just made. We didn't. We kind of put it out there, and we got some love for it. People definitely responded to it, but we didn't get to play any shows. We played our album release show, and that was pretty much it. We played one show in June when they opened up bars, and then they shut the bars down again.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So I don't know. It, I can't wait to play. That's all I can say.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, oh, this was gonna ask you earlier. What tuning do y'all frequently play in?
we're in E flat
Okay,
usually. This last record though, Bloomer, we had a couple songs in different tunings. I was it A sharp was Lost in the Fog. That song, it's like the last song on our album, and then we had another song on the album in C, in drop C. That was the song called Means to an End on the album. So we're trying to definitely experiment. Even though I don't get me wrong, and I love this last album. Like we were like jamming the rough mixes yesterday, me and my brother, and we're just like, wow, like I can't wait till people hear this. It's ridiculous. It's definitely the best work we've made to this point. It's the best work I've for sure, ever been a part of, for
uh,
sure. I, but I was like, my only comment is like I feel like we haven't experimented enough. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah, you're always trying to push. But this is
So,
definitely like some awesome music for sure. I love it.
yeah, I'm stoked for the new
Yeah.
EP. When you're doing like lower tunings, like what's your mentality? Do you like have a different setup or a different bass for it, or just kind of just
Um.
tune to that?
I just tune into it. Honestly, that's really it. Um. I have. It's funny, man. I have different basses. But like I just can't get. I don't know what it is, but like I can't. The other basses don't sound as good as my Fender, so it's really hard for me to like.
Yeah,
I feel cheap. Like if I were to like switch from my Fender and go to another bass, it doesn't sound as good. Maybe it's like a mental thing. I don't know. But to me, like I just feel cheap if I were to go from like a you know what I mean? Like you
yeah,
get what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like
That's your main base. Like
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
want to
I
use
have to
it.
buy a
You
bass that's compatible or comparable. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
it's tough.
I just ask because like for anyone listening, I don't. You can like there's no rules to playing, right? So like if you play
Mhm.
down tuning and you just want to down tune your bass, like go for it. Like you don't need a full new brand new setup, like new strings or whatever. You can have that if you want.
Yeah, I actually change my strings a lot.
Yeah.
I change them like at least 3 weeks to a month. I no lie. I definitely am a weirdo with that. I don't let them get too old.
All
I
right.
like the bright sound. People
Yeah.
are like, ugh. Yeah, but
Oh
no, I
no.
like that. I like that. That's just me.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too, especially with the like slap style that you play.
Hmm. Yeah,
What strings do you use? Do you have like a go-to?
dude. Usually, it I'm all over the place. I'm like schizophrenic with that. Like, I've gone, Diodario and Ernie Ball's kind of like, I guess I would say my go-to. You know what I mean? Like if I need to get strings really quick, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like cheap. Usually that's my go-to, honestly. It just really depends. I've gotten like those Ernie Ball, the Cobalts. I've gotten those. The hybrid slinkies. The Diodario, the 105 to 45 gauge. Yeah, that's pretty much what I use. Yeah, nothing
Mm,
crazy.
nice,
Mhm.
nice. Um,
Yeah.
all right, we'll start wrapping up a little bit. Like, what advice do you have for just anyone like starting up a band, just based on kind of everything you've gone through? Like, what's like the key to kind of longevity since y'all have been a band for a good while now?
Definitely, I would say the number one thing, um, of course, practice your instrument, um, but also set goals for your band. If you're just kind of hanging around, just jamming, I think people get kind of lackadaisical, kind of lazy. But I think if you're always constantly setting goals for your band, that keeps always trying to push for something, trying to accomplish something. I mean, it's something simple. Let's try and book a show, or let's try and you know save money to get the keep recording music, like something. You know what I mean? Like let's save up to book a tour. Let's save up to you know anything really. You know what I mean? Just set goals for your band. I would say is the number one thing for longevity,
Yeah,
for sure.
I
Yeah,
100%.
especially as a local band. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's gold right there. That's definitely gold. Um, so I guess before we go, like, where can people follow you or follow Donella Drive or any projects or anything that you're doing?
Right now, just yeah, Instagram Donella Drive, Facebook.com/Donella Drive, Twitter Donella Drive, and we have a website now too. It's www.com, DonellaDrive.com or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's new. I just put it anyway.
Yeah.
And then my personal one, Instagram. My Instagram is a Ginobili, like Ginobili, but
Hey.
Ginobili.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Spurs.
Aiden's is yeah, Spurs for real. And then Aiden's is uh Escalante Sauce 95 at Instagram on Instagram, and then it's for Stevens, it's Steve O Drums on Instagram.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much for just taking time out of your day to talk to me. I'm stoked you did. I'm stoked for the new EP. And yeah, man, I will talk to you later and just again appreciate it.
Oh man, no problem. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate you. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, I'll talk to you later, dude.
Yeah, dude. All right, later on, man. See ya.
Later. Bye.
Later. Bye.